Jealousy doesn't always show its face openly. It doesn't come shouting or announcing itself. It whispers, it smiles, it pretends to care. It hides behind the mask of friendship, behind polite words that sound supportive but are meant to weaken your confidence. Jealous people are often the ones closest to you, the ones who clap when you win but secretly hope it doesn't last. They stand beside you, smiling through their teeth, but deep down, they're wishing your light would fade. You must learn to see beyond the surface. You must learn to hear what is really being said behind those nice words. When jealousy speaks, it sounds harmless. It sounds like, "I'm just looking out for you," or "I don't want you to be disappointed." But those words are rarely about your well-being. They are about their discomfort. Your success makes them uneasy. Your peace irritates their chaos. Your confidence reminds them of their own fears. And so, they try to disguise envy as concern. They want to slow you down by wrapping their insecurity in soft, reasonable words. They'll say, "Don't move too fast," or "You're doing too much," not because they care about your pace, but because your speed reminds them of how long they've been standing still. The dangerous thing about disguised jealousy is that it can sneak into your mind if you're not careful. You start believing what they say. You start questioning your dreams. You start holding yourself back, thinking you're being humble or wise, when in reality you're being manipulated by someone else's fear. That's how jealousy wins, not by attacking you directly, but by making you doubt yourself silently. So, you must become spiritually sharp. You must train your heart to discern energy, not just words. When someone constantly finds a reason to criticize what you're building, when they never celebrate your small victories, when their smile fades every time you mention progress, believe what you feel. Energy never lies. Words can fool you, but energy always tells the truth. Remember this. Real support feels light, it feels freeing. It motivates you, it pushes you to grow, it makes you want to do more. Fake support feels heavy, it confuses you, drains your spirit, and fills you with doubt. That's the difference between someone who claps for you and someone who competes with you. Jealous people cannot handle seeing you walk in the confidence they secretly wish they had. That's why they try to cover their envy with friendly advice. They might say you've changed, as if changing is something to be ashamed of. But that's what growth does. It changes you, and anyone who is threatened by your change is not meant to be part of your transformation. Sometimes God allows jealousy around you not to hurt you, but to teach you discernment. He wants you to see who's really for you, and who's only there to observe you. Jealous people play the role of spectators in your journey. They watch your progress from the sidelines, pretending to cheer, but their hearts are restless. Don't let their hidden envy disturb your peace. Let it remind you of how far you've come. You don't have to confront every jealous person. You don't have to expose them or seek revenge. Just recognize them and distance yourself quietly. Protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Don't give jealous hearts access to your plans, your dreams, or your peace. They can't destroy what they don't know. Move in silence and let your growth speak for itself. Jealousy speaks in disguise, but when you grow wiser, you'll hear it clearly. You'll start noticing the tone behind their compliments, the hesitation in their praise, the quickness with which they shift the topic when you share good news. And when you do, don't take it personally, take it as confirmation, because people don't envy the ordinary. They envy what's chosen, what's blessed, what's favored. You are not responsible for how others feel about your light. You are only responsible for keeping it burning. So let them whisper, let them disguise, let them talk. The truth always reveals itself in time. Keep shining, keep building, keep believing. Jealousy might speak in disguise, but your success will always speak louder. ##*2. They use words to plant doubt. Jealous people rarely attack you directly. Instead, they use words that sound harmless but carry hidden intentions. They don't come shouting their envy. They come whispering insecurity into your spirit. They'll look you in the eye and say things like, "Are you sure this is the right move?" Or "Don't get your hopes up too high." These words sound like care, but they are laced with fear. Their goal is simple: to make you question what you already know deep in your heart. They want to slow your progress by filling your mind with doubt. Words are powerful. They can build or break, heal or hurt, lift or limit. Jealous people understand this. They don't need to fight you physically. They just need to say the right thing to make you second guess yourself. Doubt is the seed they plant, hoping it will grow into hesitation. Once hesitation takes root, your confidence begins to shrink, and when confidence dies, purpose becomes blurred. That's how jealousy operates. It doesn't need to destroy you directly. It convinces you to destroy yourself from within. You must protect your mind like a fortress. Not every voice deserves to echo inside your head. Some people speak not to guide you, but to guard themselves from feeling small. When they tell you that your dream is too big, what they really mean is, "I was too afraid to dream like that." When they say, "You're moving too fast," what they mean is, "I never found the courage to move." Every word they use to limit you is a reflection of their own limits. When you hear those voices, you have a choice. You can absorb them or you can rise above them. Doubt only wins when you listen. You have to remember why you started, who you are, and who sent you. When you walk in purpose, no opinion can stop what God has already ordained. People can talk, but they cannot change your destiny. You must stand firm in that truth. Jealous people want you to look back, to slow down, to get distracted by their noise. They know that if you stay focused, you'll reach levels they can only imagine. So, they use subtle words as traps. That's why discernment is your shield. Before accepting advice, examine the spirit behind it. Is it love or fear? Is it encouragement or envy? You will feel the difference. Love corrects you to help you grow, but jealousy criticizes you to make you doubt. Many dreams have died because someone listened to the wrong voice. Many people gave up not because they lacked faith, but because they allowed jealous people to speak into their destiny. Don't let that happen to you. Guard your purpose from people who secretly hope it fails. When God gives you a vision, He doesn't ask for their approval. He gives it to you because only you are meant to carry it. Jealous people speak doubt because it's all they know. They haven't learned how to celebrate others. They only know how to compare. They can't see your blessing as inspiration because they see it as a reminder of what they lack. So instead of growing, they gossip. Instead of supporting, they criticize. And while they spend their energy talking about your life, you must use yours to keep moving forward. Every time someone says, "I don't think you can do it," let that fuel your fire. Let it remind you of why you started. Let it push you closer to your goal, because one day the same people who doubted you will have to watch you succeed. And they will remember every word they spoke against you. So be careful with what you allow to enter your spirit. Jealous people use words as weapons, but your faith is your armor. Stand tall in your truth. Speak life over your dreams, and silence the voices that try to plant fear. Remember, doubt is a seed. They can plant it, but only you can decide whether it grows. Protect your heart, guard your vision, and keep your mind rooted in peace. Because once you learn to recognize the difference between a warning and a wound, no jealous word can ever shake your destiny again. ***3. They fear your transformation when you begin to grow, when you start to heal, when you finally step into the person you were meant to be. Not everyone will celebrate it. Some people will act confused by your transformation. They'll look at you differently, whisper behind your back, and say, "You've changed." But they don't mean it as a compliment. They mean it as a warning, because deep down, your transformation scares them. It reminds them of what they've refused to do for themselves. Transformation is powerful because it breaks the patterns that others are still trapped in. The moment you start choosing peace over drama, purpose over distractions, and growth over comfort, you become a mirror. And not everyone can handle what they see in that reflection. Your progress exposes their procrastination. Your healing exposes their bitterness. Your light exposes their darkness. And instead of being inspired by your change, they become uncomfortable with it. They miss the old version of you, the one who tolerated their negativity, who kept shrinking to make them feel tall, who stayed silent to keep the peace. But now that you've found your strength, they can't control you anymore. You no longer entertain their drama. You no longer beg for validation. You no longer depend on their approval, and that loss of control frightens them. Because they didn't love you, they loved the version of you that was convenient for them. Jealous people fear transformation because it separates you from them. They used to feel equal to you, maybe even above you. But now, they see you rising while they're standing still. They see you glowing and they can't understand how. They wonder how you found peace after everything you went through. They wonder how you kept smiling after all that pain. What they don't realize is that your transformation wasn't luck, it was growth. It was faith, it was grace. You stopped depending on people and started depending on God, and that shift changed everything. Your transformation threatens those who are committed to staying the same. They want you to doubt your change. They want you to feel guilty for evolving. They'll say things like, "You're acting different," or "You think you're better than us." But they're not describing arrogance, they're describing progress. You're not acting different, you are different. You're not pretending to be more, you're becoming more. Growth will always look like pride to those who choose to stay small. That's why you must never apologize for changing. You prayed for a new life, and God started transforming you. But when He does that, He also starts removing people who can't handle your new level. Don't fight for relationships that can't survive your transformation. Some people were only assigned to your past, not your future. If they can't celebrate your growth, let them go quietly. The same people who once mocked you for being weak will one day envy your strength. Transformation is uncomfortable because it demands sacrifice. You had to lose things to gain peace. You had to walk away from chaos to find clarity. You had to unlearn old habits, detach from toxic people, and face your own pain. But through it all, you kept moving. That's why you're different now. That's why you speak differently, think differently, and live differently. It's not arrogance, it's awareness. You finally understand who you are and whose you are. Don't let anyone shame you for growing. People who are truly secure in themselves will applaud your transformation. They'll see your growth as proof that change is possible. But those who fear it will criticize what they can't control. They will try to pull you back to who you used to be because your new self doesn't serve their comfort anymore. Don't fall for it. You've come too far to go back. Remember this: transformation doesn't just change your life, it reveals everyone else's true nature. When you evolve, you expose the ones who were never meant to grow with you. So keep evolving, keep healing, keep transforming. Let the ones who fear your growth watch from a distance. You don't owe anyone the old version of yourself. The person you're becoming deserves to be protected, celebrated, and free. ##**4. They call it luck, but it's grace *** when people can't explain your success. They'll call it luck. When they don't understand how you keep rising after every fall, they'll say you're just fortunate. When they see doors opening for you that never opened for them, they'll say you got lucky. but what they don't realize is that it was never luck, it was grace. It was the hand of God, guiding, lifting, and covering you even when no one else believed in you. Jealous people use the word luck to make themselves feel comfortable. It's easier for them to believe that life just handed you blessings than to admit that you worked, prayed, sacrificed, and stayed faithful when no one was watching. They can't understand the nights you cried in silence, the days you kept going with no energy, the moments you wanted to give up but didn't. So, to protect their pride, they dismiss your effort. They reduce your journey to coincidence, when in truth, it was divine alignment. They see the reward, but they didn't see the responsibility. They see the fruit, but they didn't see the fasting. They see the shine, but they didn't see the storm that shaped it. That's why you should never take offense when someone calls it luck. Let them talk, because one day they'll see that grace doesn't need permission to move. When God decides to bless you, He doesn't check anyone's opinion first. Every blessing you have, every opportunity you receive, every door that opens for you, those are not random. They are the result of staying faithful when life tested you the most. Grace is what carried you when strength couldn't. Grace is what lifted you when you fell. Grace is what turned your pain into purpose and your rejection into redirection. Jealous people call it luck because they can't comprehend how you're standing after everything that was meant to break you. But you know the truth. You know that you didn't make it this far by accident. You didn't get here because you were lucky. You got here because you kept trusting God when you couldn't trace Him. You got here because you chose faith over fear, obedience over opinion, and persistence over pressure. Luck is random, but grace is intentional. Luck happens by chance, but grace happens by choice, God's choice. That's why you must stay humble and grateful. Never let people's jealousy turn your heart cold. When they say you're lucky, smile and say, I'm blessed. Because blessings are not about deserving, they are about favor. You can't earn grace, but you can live in a way that invites it. When your heart stays pure, when your motives stay clean, when your faith stays steady, grace follows you everywhere you go. And no amount of jealousy can stop what grace has started. The problem with jealous people is that they confuse favor with favoritism. They think God loves you more because of what you have, but they don't see how much you've surrendered. They don't know how many times you said no to temptation, how many times you prayed for strength instead of revenge, how many tears you turned into testimony. Grace is not about having it easy, it's about surviving what others couldn't handle. So let them call it what they want. Let them say, you just got lucky. Let them believe it was coincidence. You don't have to defend yourself, because the evidence of grace speaks louder than any opinion. Every time you overcome, every time you find peace, every time you rise again, that's proof that you're covered. Grace is your signature. It's what sets you apart. The truth is, luck fades, but grace remains. Luck runs out, but grace overflows. Luck depends on timing, but grace depends on trust. When God chooses to favor you, no human opinion can cancel His decision. So, don't argue with jealous people. Don't explain what only faith can understand. Keep walking in gratitude. Keep giving glory where it's due, because your journey is not luck. It's the story of a heart that refused to quit and a God who refused to let go. ****5. Silence is your strongest response. There will come a time when your peace will bother people more than your success. When you refuse to argue, when you no longer explain yourself, when you simply choose silence over reaction, it confuses the ones who thrive on your attention. Jealous people want you to defend yourself because your reaction feeds their validation. They want to see you lose control so they can feel powerful. But the moment you stop responding, the moment you choose silence instead of chaos, You win a battle they didn't even know you were fighting. Silence is not weakness, it is wisdom, it is strength wrapped in calmness. It's knowing that you don't need to prove yourself to anyone, because your results will speak louder than any rumor ever could. When you stay silent, you give space for the truth to reveal itself. You let God fight battles your words never could. Every time you resist the urge to clap back, you're showing emotional maturity. You're saying, I'm too focused on my purpose to be distracted by petty energy. A jealous people feed on reaction. They provoke you not because they care, but because your peace exposes their lack of it. They want to see you break character, to see you angry, to see you fall into the same negativity they live in every day. But silence starves them. When you don't respond, you cut off their supply. They can't win against a person who refuses to play the game. Silence removes their power, and that's what frustrates them the most. Sometimes the best answer to false accusations, to gossip, to judgment, is no answer at all. Let them talk, let them assume, let them create their stories. Truth doesn't need defending, it stands on its own. You don't have to chase rumors. They die in the same mouths that created them. You don't have to correct lies. Time always exposes them. The one who keeps his peace always wins in the end. Your silence doesn't mean you don't see what they're doing. It means you're wise enough to know that not every battle deserves your energy. Some fights are beneath your purpose. Some arguments are traps meant to pull you back into the same small place you've outgrown. When you've matured spiritually, you realize that peace is not the absence of conflict, it's the ability to remain calm in the middle of it. Think about how powerful it is when you respond with nothing. When someone expects you to argue but you smile instead, when they expect you to explain but you walk away. Your silence speaks volumes. It says, I know who I am. I don't need to prove it. That's the kind of peace that makes jealous people uncomfortable. They can't control a person who no longer reacts. You must understand that silence is not surrender. It's strategy. It's knowing that God will always handle what's whispered behind your back. You don't have to expose your enemies. They expose themselves when they realize their attacks no longer affect you. When you stay still, you allow grace to move. When you stay silent, you create space for divine justice to take its place. There's power in walking away. There's power in not replying. There's power in smiling when others expect you to explode. Because silence is not empty, it's full of answers that words could never express. The more you grow, the less you speak. The more you understand, the less you argue. Maturity teaches you that not every action deserves a reaction. Some things are better handled by time, by truth, and by God. So don't let jealous people pull you into unnecessary battles. They want your attention because your focus intimidates them. Stay calm, stay steady, stay silent. Because while they're busy talking about you, you'll be busy becoming everything they said you couldn't be. Your peace will disturb them, but let it. Your silence will confuse them, but keep it. You are not responsible for their jealousy. You are responsible for protecting your energy. In the end, your silence will speak louder than their noise. It will show them that you are no longer who you used to be. You've learned that sometimes the most powerful roar comes from the quietest soul. ##**6. Jealousy confirms your elevation. **** Jealousy is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's proof that you're doing something right. The moment you start rising, the moment your light begins to shine brighter, jealousy will appear. Not because you've changed for the worse, but because your growth threatens those who are still stuck in their comfort zones. You see, nobody envies failure. Nobody gossips about what's ordinary. People only talk about what's becoming extraordinary. The presence of jealousy around you is confirmation that your elevation has begun. When God begins to move in your life, not everyone will celebrate it. Some people will distance themselves, others will start to criticize or compete. But don't be discouraged. It's all part of the process. Elevation always exposes hearts. It shows you who's truly for you and who was only for your struggle. When you had nothing, they were comfortable around you. When you were lost, they were kind. But now that you've found your peace, your purpose, and your strength, something inside them changes. They can't celebrate your growth because you'll break through reminds them of their own stagnation. Jealousy is a mirror. It reflects people's insecurities back at them. When someone sees you rise, they start to notice their own lack of movement. Instead of asking how they can grow too, they begin to resent the fact that you did. That's why you should never take jealousy personally. It's not really about you. It's about what your presence triggers inside them. You've become proof that change is possible, and that's something small-minded people can't handle. You don't need to defend your elevation. You don't need to shrink to make others feel comfortable. Your success isn't an insult to anyone. It's simply a result of your consistency, your faith, and your obedience. You prayed when they complained, you stayed when they quit, you worked when they waited, and now that the results are showing, jealousy is the noise that follows. Don't let it distract you. Keep your eyes on the path God is clearing for you. Every level brings new critics. The higher you climb, the louder the chatter becomes, but let them talk, because while they waste energy speaking your name, you'll be using yours to keep building. Their words can't block what's been blessed. Their envy can't touch what's been protected by grace. The same people who whispered behind your back will one day have to watch your promotion in silence. That's how God works. He turns jealousy into an announcement that His hand is on you. Remember this truth. Jealousy always follows elevation. It's the price of favor. It means your presence carries weight. The very things they envy, the peace, the purpose, the joy, are not things you bought. They're things you built through faith and endurance. That's why jealous people will never understand it. They want your glow, but not your grind. They want your blessing, but not your battles. They want your peace, but not your process. When you notice jealousy rising around you, don't get bitter, get grateful. It's a sign that God is shifting you higher. It's confirmation that your name is being spoken in rooms you haven't even entered yet. It means something in your life is working. Every jealous comment, every false rumor, every silent unfollow, they're all signs that your elevation has been noticed. And if people are noticing, that means your light is shining exactly where it should. Jealousy doesn't stop destiny, it highlights it. What's meant for you can't be delayed by anyone's envy. God's plan for your life is too powerful to be undone by whispers or opinions. So, instead of worrying about who's jealous, focus on staying aligned with purpose. Keep your spirit pure, your heart humble, and your focus forward. Because jealousy may follow you, but it can't reach you. Let jealousy be your confirmation, not your distraction. When they talk, keep building. When they criticize, keep creating. When they doubt you, keep believing. The noise around you is only proof that something great is happening within you. The higher you go, the thinner the air becomes, and not everyone can breathe where you're headed. So, rise with grace. Let jealousy echo in the background while you walk in peace, because every time they envy your elevation, heaven celebrates your faithfulness.